What is up, woke family? Super woke bucks, and I'm back again with another video. Let's get into it. Women just can't win in relationships, apparently. Let's see what they're talking about.
To my YouTube folk, I appreciate y'all being on the live. To everybody that is on Instagram, I please ask you, hey. Hello to my YouTube folk. I appreciate y'all being on the live. To everybody that is on Instagram, I please ask you to navigate on over to YouTube because that's where I'm gonna be going live. And everybody that's on the live, I appreciate you guys for tapping in and giving me your time and your attention. If you are vibing with me, I'm just gonna put this out there right now. Go ahead, subscribe, like the video, comment, and all of that. Or you could decide to do that after you watch it to see if you rocking with it. But I would appreciate it if you do that. And everybody that's on Instagram, I'm popping off. Catch me on YouTube, and that's that. Goodbye. Lay y'all. All right. So my folk that's on YouTube, I appreciate y'all being on the live. I see the thumbs up emojis. First and foremost, I want to say this. My apologies for yesterday's live. When I go live, I like to give you guys my undivided attention, and I was very much so. It was a lot going on yesterday, and so I wanted to address some things and go further into detail based on what I talked about, right? And so let me just put my phone on do not disturb mode for a second. I wanted to go further into detail. One of the things that I talked about yesterday was I was speaking about like modern women, so to speak. And for the ladies that's on the live, I really want for you guys to understand that we are all allies here. You feel me? We are all growing up in this world. We're living in this world where things are not necessarily the easiest for women. It's not the easiest for our men either. But
Okay, I'm gonna have to pause it real quick. We have to talk about this. What do you mean it's not easy for women? I just want to understand your point. Like, what do you mean it's not easy for women? Women, if anything, women have it the easiest that they've ever had it in their entire life in 2022 now in America. Like, what do you mean? Like you guys are given so many concessions that you weren't given back in the 70s. You guys have the right to vote. You guys are basically like, for example, let's say there's a domestic violence case or something like that, and you and a man get into an altercation. The man is going to leave majority of the time. You guys are more likely than not giving custody to your children. If you and your man get divorced in because in America, for example, 1 out of 2 marriages end in divorce. So if you end up getting divorced to your man, you're taking 50% of what he has. What do you mean things aren't easy for women? You could literally be homeless on the street and a man will come and pick you up off the street and wife you. What do you mean it's not easy for women? You guys can get into nightclubs for free. What do you mean it's not easy for women? Right? A man has to try to be able to build his value enough to be able to even approach you. And even if a man approaches you, you're going to say, ew, you're a creep. You're a creep. What are you talking about? It's not easy for women. Y'all don't appreciate the good men in your life. That's the reality of the situation. But anyway, let's continue.
But for women, I feel like there's a lot of confusion going on as to like what is acceptable for how we are moving and what is acceptable for what we're doing, right? So yesterday's live, I talked about basically, I started off talking about the Atlanta rapper named Trouble, right? And how he was unfortunately murdered, which is terrible, right? Now in the video, I saw some of the comments saying that like nothing justifies that, and I definitely agree. I felt like that's one of those things that go without saying, that I would never justify that kind of behavior. But I feel like we as women, and please understand, ladies, that I am a woman, so I understand these things. You feel me? And I'm not trying to throw us under the bus, but I feel like we as women are the only ones who like when things happen, we don't necessarily look at, not all of us, but sometimes we don't necessarily look at what the preventative measures could have been. And for this rapper, I'm just going to give you guys like just the breakdown. If you guys may not know, this rapper, he was unfortunately, he was murdered because he went over to a young lady's house, and they were asleep in the house, and her ex came in and punched her and shot the rapper in the chest, and he passed away. Now, the woman had been with her ex for roughly 3 years. He had previously lived in that same house with her, and she had just broken up with him the week before, right? Now, in yesterday's live, I was talking about how
Fellas, for the guys watching this video, this is exactly why I try to advise you. You have to be very, very careful when it comes to dealing with women, bro. Now, in this situation in which he's talking about, it might not have been the woman's fault, but at the same time as well, too, that's exactly how people get set up to get murdered. It's not a joke. According to what this woman is saying right now, she literally had just broken up with her boyfriend the week before. But you have to understand something about women, bro. Before a woman breaks up with you, or before you break up with a woman, majority of the time, well, not you breaking up with, but like let's say she breaks up with you, she already has her replacement, bro. She already knows who's next. So you cannot afford to allow yourself to be in your feelings, bro. You have like this is exactly why I try to tell fellas, like even the women too. You got to learn how to vet people out properly so you don't end up getting played in the process, bro. Now a rapper lost his life over something he had no awareness of. And I'm gonna be real with you. Rest in peace to the rapper. I don't personally know him, or I don't never listen to his music, but that is exactly why you have to make sure you make provisions, bro. If you're gonna deal with the woman and do stuff with the woman, which I advise against, at least prepare yourself. You could have gotten a hotel if that's what you wanted to do, even though I advise against that 100%. But now you went over to her place. Who knows if he's even paying mortgage or rent? You know what I'm saying? And he ended up taking you out. It's like, bro, you got to be careful, very, very careful. Right? We're living in demonic times, bro. Got to be careful, 100%, so you don't end up getting murdered. Trust in God and let's continue to move forward, man.
um certain things can be prevented if we exemplify different behaviors. Of course, it could have been prevented on several different labels. The rapper, he could have left soon after they were done doing what they was doing and not been sleeping there. They could have gone to a different location and not gone to her house. Another thing is that the woman maybe didn't have to have another man in the house that she shared with her ex for roughly 3 years, a week after they broke up. And I feel like to say that, it's like, oh, you're blaming women. No, I feel like we just have to understand preventative measures. Like preventative measures could have been taken on all parts, you understand? And the reason why I say this is I want to get further into detail when it comes to like women when we are assaulted, right? Like when we were assaulted. Now, I asked the man that I was talking to yesterday, I asked him, I said, I know you're a strong man. I know you're very confident in your abilities of what you can do. you know, I know you're very confident in that. Um, Somebody said the ultimate girlfriend said he was cheating. So the ex was cheating. Okay, that still doesn't change anything. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. We don't necessarily need to make justification. So he was cheating. So a week later, it's okay to bring another man into that same space that you shared with your ex because he was cheating. And see that this is the type of logic that
100%. She's right, and I agree with this one right here. This is like we as people have to literally understand. Like, let's just say, for example, he was cheating as the woman. Why don't you just walk away and want better for yourself? A woman will try, like she said, the justification. A woman will try to justify something for it to make sense in her head before she wrongs you. And it's like, I'm not saying that the man is right. He was wrong as well too for cheating if he cheated, but you didn't have to do it back. You don't have to do it back, right? You want to put yourself in a position to become the best version of yourself. You don't have to stoop down to people's levels because now that's your level now. You've just brought yourself down all because of somebody being petty to you. Move on with your life. Life is bigger than that. Real talk. You don't have to stoop down to that level. It's not worth it. You know? Well, let's continue.
I'm talking about. I'm not saying that cheating is okay or any of that. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying that when we as women try to move and do things because of like, oh, a man did this or men be doing this, so I'm gonna get my get back as a woman. There are such dire ramifications for that kind of behavior that I feel like we don't really understand sometimes. Like we as women, we operate on a more emotional plane sometimes, and men they can operate on an emotional plane as well, but there's a lot more violence that can be attached to men being overly emotional. Women, we can get violent too, but it's a lot less likely. Like I mean, and if we do get violent, because we are not physically stronger than men, it's normally not as
The reason you're not physically stronger is because you don't have as much testosterone. God didn't bless you with as much testosterone as He blessed men. You understand what I'm saying? So I agree with her point, right? She definitely has valid points in what she's saying, and what she's basically trying to say is that it's easy for a man to be able to get physical if he's very, very emotional. You feel what I'm saying? So I definitely get that, and this is exactly why one has to be very, very careful. Now, with that being said, I don't encourage men to be emotional either way. You know what I'm saying? I don't encourage men to be emotional, but you have to be very, very careful in your dealings with men and women. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Every other thing is going to make sense, especially if you start to pay attention to it.
serious as a like as an issue as when a man gets violent with a woman. Like if a woman gets violent with a man, that's definitely not a good thing. She may slap him or whatever. But if a man gets violent with a woman and socks her and knocks her out, there's more, that's a heavier thing than just merely getting slapped, is the point that I'm making. So when I say these things, this is not me trying to not hold men accountable and be like, well, men be acting crazy. So we just got to make sure that we don't, it ain't nothing like that, but it's just understanding the different dynamics between men and women. So back to the point that I was making, because I want everybody to understand, like, I don't want the women on the live to be feeling alienated or anything. I just want us to understand the way that like this world is going. And if we continue to exemplify certain behaviors, we're going to see a lot more occurrences of violence. You know what I'm saying? Men and women alike, we can't be acting crazy out here, but we need to start thinking more in a preventative mindset. Now, back to the story I was telling you guys. I was talking to a male friend of mine, and I know that he's very capable. You know, he trains, he does MMA, all sorts of stuff that he does. I was talking to him, and I know he can handle his own, you know, for the most part. But I asked him, I said, would you go to a sketchy neighborhood in the middle of the night, like say it's 2 o'clock in the morning? Would you go to an ATM in a sketchy neighborhood in the middle of the night and withdraw a large lump sum of money from the ATM? Would you do that?
You know what's funny about what she's asking? I think a lot of women know the answer to their questions, but they'll ask it just as a way to test you. Because whether you realize this or not, guys, women are going to try to test you to be able to see if you're capable enough as a man, in their opinion, in their mind, in their head. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very good to pay attention to, so you can really be able to get a sense of who they are and what they're looking for when they're looking for a man. Let's continue, though. She knows the answer to that question. Let's continue.
Would you? And he was like, nah, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, why would you not do that? You know, because we should be able to do stuff like that. I should be able to go to the ATM in the middle of the night and withdraw money and nobody's going to rob me. I should be able to do that. Say,
I like how she said, I'm interrupt from time to time, guys. I love y'all, Wolf family. I love how she said, you should be able to do it. Shoulds and coulds are not operating in reality. Reality is sexist. Get used to it. There are bad people in this world. There are people that want to take you out. You got to understand that and see it for the way it is and move accordingly. If you could learn how to move accordingly, every other thing else is going to work itself out. No kizzy app. Let's continue, man.
same as us women. We should be able to walk around naked if we wanted to and know that no one is going to touch us, no one is going to harass us, no one is going to do anything that is going to cause harm or discomfort to us in any way. That's the way the world should be, right? But that's not the way that the world is. I should be able to take my car, which is it's a pretty decent car. I should be able to take it and park it on the street and leave it on the street unlocked, and like no one should steal it. But because I value my car and because I don't want somebody to steal it, I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it in the garage. I'm going to take the keys with me. I'm going to lock it up so that nobody can get into my car. That's a preventative measure. But with women, we a lot of times I feel like the society encourages us to not think in a preventative way. We want to say stuff like, I should be able to walk around with these mini skirts on. I should be able to do all this stuff. I should be able to dress like this and not be sexualized and men not catcall and all that. You're right. That should be the case. We should be able to do that. But please understand that that's not the society that we live in. We don't live in a society where everyone acts right all the time. And because we don't live in that kind of society, we got to start taking preventative measures. And that's all I'm talking about. You know, in this situation with the rapper Trouble, you know, preventative measures could have been taken on both parts. But I feel like the biggest preventative measure is not having like another man in your place a week after you broke up with a man that you've been with for 3 years. Especially like when he's proven himself to be abusive before. This is not blaming the woman. This is not saying that that man is justified in his actions, because he's not. The woman is not to blame for that man's actions, and the man is not justified in shooting someone. I felt like those things goes without saying, but apparently I have to say that because you guys are then going to assume that I'm justifying murder if I don't say that murder is wrong. So I have to say these things. So none of this, I'm not saying any of that is justified, but I'm saying it's okay to think preventatively instead of always reacting to something tragic. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with. Hold on, let's see if it pauses. Hold on one second. Okay, so I definitely agree with the sister's points. I think it's good to be able to think in a preventative measure. But let's be honest, like I said, most people don't think like that. They don't have that mentality when it comes to the way that they can move in certain things that they can do, which is an unfortunate situation. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue though.
I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. Because this is not to shift blame, but it's to say, how could this been prevented? For example, if I leave my car parked outside overnight with the windows down, the car unlocked, and the keys in the car, and somebody steals it, I mean, it's unfortunate. Nobody should have stolen my car. No one should have stolen it, right? But when you guys ask me, like, why did you leave your car outside with the windows down and the keys in the ignition? Why did you do that? You didn't want to take any preventative measures to maybe stop people from attempting to steal from you? That's all I'm saying. And the reason why I'm bringing this up and I'm correlating it to like a lot of what we see going on is because like I saw like the reaction to Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan, their breakup right now. I'm not about to talk about their relationship. I said this yesterday because I can't say who should be together and why they should be together, whether or not they should break up or not. That's not my place to say anything remotely close to that. You feel me? But what I am saying is that I saw a lot of the responses. I saw responses of men calling that woman out her name. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. And then I saw responses of women propping her up to be something that she hasn't even said that she was. Women are using Lori Harvey as their female version of Future, so to speak, where it's like, oh, she out here doing these men how they do us, and get it, sis, like break these hearts and love them and leave them alone.
See, that's what I'm saying. We live in a very, very toxic society that promotes toxic culture. They don't want to prepare you to become the best wife that you can become to your husband in the future. They just want you to be out here with anybody and everybody. That's exactly why you as a person have to be very, very careful of the energy you give to people, because it's really going to determine how far you go. You know, be very, very cautious. It's really going to determine how far you go. Let's continue. You can't give your heart to everybody.
And all this other kind of stuff. I don't like that either. I don't like responses that I've seen from men and women alike when it comes to this breakup. And it's not like I care so much about the breakup, because I don't. But my thing, whenever I talk about an issue, you guys know that it's always about the response. It's always about like how people respond and how the public is viewing what is happening in the world. And it's like a litmus test, you feel me, for the men and women alike, to see where our minds are. The fact that we see a woman break up with a man, we don't know or they break up with each other. We don't even know the details to be having these type of conversations. But the fact that we see that this breakup happens and we are creating this own narrative. Men are creating a narrative of she's a hoe. And then women are creating a narrative of, yeah, she be leaving them and like her or propping her up to be something. It lets me know where our minds are. Why are our minds as women that we're so happy that this woman is potentially doing men like how they do us? Like this whole get back thing. You feel me? Of this is how we move. Because when we start applauding moving in a weird way and moving in a way that's like unnatural to women, we're gonna see more cases of like what happened to that rapper Trouble. More cases. If we continue to move wild in this world, we're gonna see more wild reactions. And the same thing goes for the men. We can't like men. You can't just decide like you don't even know this woman and you calling her all out her name, and it lets us know like how do you really feel? You know, like why are we so quick to have these judgments on people we don't even know and come up with all these scenarios? It really is a litmus.
This is what I'll say. I get where you're coming from to an extent when it comes to the Lori Harvey situation about advising women to be careful how they move so you don't see crazy reactions. But I'm not gonna say anything negative in regards to the Lori Harvey situation. But what I will say is that you have to understand we as men we pay attention to track record, especially when it comes to taking a woman seriously. This woman has a track record of being with a lot of dudes in the industry, right? So, do you think that if you've been with multiple dudes in the industry as a woman and all of them are not wifing you up, that we're not going to think that you're not wife material? Now, as for calling you the H word or whatever, that's one thing, but it's like people are going to for sure talk about it 100%, you know? And it goes to show you how society is. People pay attention to who they believe is going to be wife material. And it's like, what y'all as women have to understand is that your value comes from two main points: the amount of children that you can have with the man that you're going to be with for the rest of your life, and the relationships that you can develop and cultivate with people, right? Can you develop a relationship with new people? Can you cultivate the relationship that you have with the people that you are related to, or the people that you are in your friend group? That is where your value is coming from. Real talk. But a lot of women in 2022, they don't know how to do that. And I'm not saying that men are better, but it's like we as men, our value comes from us being able to provide. Can we provide for our families? If not, then technically we're not doing what we're supposed to do. But let's continue though.
Test at this point. So that's the point that I'm making. I know a lot of people might be like, I don't even understand how it's interconnected. It's interconnected because we're seeing like one behavior of like how we presume Lori Harvey is moving because we don't even know if she's moving like that. But we're praising how we presume that she's moving, and then we see the ramifications happening to this rapper in Atlanta from moving a certain way that is not necessarily the most natural way to move, you know? And people can say what they want to, like, oh, women should be able to do everything that men do. Who's to say that what the men do is a good thing? You feel me? That it's a good thing to be bouncing from one person to the next, as if sex isn't an energy exchange, as if sex isn't something that's sacred. Who's to say that we should be trying to emulate spiritually, emotionally, and physically detrimental behaviors? That's what I want to know, you know? So that's what I'm saying. That's the point that I'm making. And I just wanted to clear some things up from yesterday's live because I feel like, I wanted to clear up some stuff and I was kind of I wasn't all over the place, but it was a lot going on at my house at the time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's all I want to say. Let me get to some of these super chats real quick because I know one came in earlier. Let me see. Circle of Pharaoh's IG says, this still got me messed up. It was an off and on relationship with her ex, and I can't lie, Poom can be a lot of men's downfall, especially easy Poom. Well, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna say everything that you said. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see what the next. You said it again. Men wanted to have this justify their past pains of wanting the wrong one to be a housewife. She showed Jordan she ain't the one for that lifestyle. Okay, I appreciate the super chat, but I mean, we don't even know her, so I can't even go so far as to say that. You feel me? I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know her personally. Free my grandma says, well, he didn't say anything. He just sent me a super chat. I think you'd appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Um, so this is what I'm saying. Like we have to understand just moving better, and it's really hard for women because it's like it's hard for men and women alike. But for the ladies that's on the live, it'd be hard for us because it's like in certain situations, it's like we can't win. And another part of what I wanted to talk about, I'm only going to talk about this for a little bit, is the whole like
I want you to break it down. So I know you're about to break it down, but I want you to really like break it all the way down and what you mean by y'all as women cannot win. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all have more concessions than men do. So who told you that you're not winning already? You know what I'm saying? But let's continue.
um natural bodies BBL thing, and it's crazy because like we'll hear a lot that women, and I honestly feel like the whole BBL culture is dying out. Fortunately, I see more and more women getting it. The way I feel like the way life works when it comes to like the masses of people and so to speak celebrities is that like soon as the people start catching on to a trend, the celebrities switch it up and do something else, right? So I feel like the BBL culture is on its way out because there's a lot of like
You know why the celebrities start to switch it up? Because they're all part of the bigger picture when it comes to the elites. The elites tell the celebrities what to do, and the celebrities tell the regular people what to do. Now, does that mean that the celebrities aren't part of the elites? Let's be honest, they're not, because the celebrities are being told what to do by the elites. People are not ready for that conversation, though.
normal people that are starting to do it. But even still with that, um, women, you know, they go and get BBLs, some of them, and I'm not even like it's not for me personally. It's not something that I condone or something. I won't even say condone. It's just not for me personally. So if any women on the live have gotten one, this is not shade to y'all, but it's like we have all these beauty standards and we feel less than. I've had moments where I felt like I didn't have enough body. You feel me? I wasn't thick enough. I didn't have enough womanly shape or whatever. So I understand the insecurities that come with trying to adhere to these societal standards of beauty, right? So we have that, and people sometimes women get down for having BBLs. And then when a woman actually like eats healthy and is mindful and like naturally tries to get her body together, that's called fat phobic. That's called diet culture. It's called you starving yourself, and it's just like it seems like in certain situations we just it's very hard for us to just be and exist without all the pressures of what a woman is supposed to be. And I honestly want to have more conversations about that specifically, about like since there's so much confusion as to how we're supposed to.
Okay, so let's be honest. You're talking about there's confusion in regards to how you guys are supposed to move. If that's the situation, then why is there no confusion about how men are supposed to move? Now, does that mean that there aren't men that are struggling to become voice to men? But it's like, no. But reality of the situation is that men have a clearer picture because men understand from an innate perspective that they're supposed to divide or provide. You understand? They realize that they're supposed to divide or provide. You understand? Women like back from modern or from traditional days to current days, it's like they switched up their roles in which they believe that they can be, right? They want a traditional man, but they don't want to be traditional women. They want to be able to go out to the club. They want to be able to drink, smoke, have intercourse with multiple men, and then they expect somebody to take them serious in the future. It's like that's not how life works. Now, some might say that that's sexist because a man can't do it. Whatever the situation may be, reality is sexist though. You have to be able to adhere to societal standards and move accordingly. It shouldn't be confusing, right? Now, granted, a lot of women and a lot of men didn't grow up with a father in the household, but the reality of the situation is that you at least need one male figure. If it's a stepdad, granddad, some type of male figure to be able to put you on game and let you know, listen, this is how you can become the best woman of your that you could become to your husband in the future. You need to be able to cook and clean. You need to be feminine. You need to be submissive. You need to be agreeable, not always arguing. And you see it a lot in the black community when it comes to black women. Not only other women do it as well too, but it's heavily associated with the black community about how women are very, very unagreeable, very, very combative, very, very masculine. It's like most guys aren't going to go for that. Now, some women are going to say, "Oh yeah, I don't really care. I'm going to go for the men that want me." But it's like, even with that being said, your goal is to become the best version of you that you can possibly become for the men that you're going to deal with in the future. It's going to be very, very hard for you to be able to achieve that if you don't have your mind in the right place. If you're not becoming feminine and submissive, if you don't know how to cook and clean, if you're not the best woman that you can become, and the man is going to take care of you. Now, for those women that are going to say, "Oh yeah, I get my own money," your money is really irrelevant, especially if you're dealing with a high value man. If you're dealing with a man who's able to get to the back, he's not really worried about how much you're making because he realizes that his income is going to be able to bring everything else to fluidity. You know what I'm saying? Or not fluidity. Oh, that's not even a word. My bad. It's going to bring everything else into fruition. That's all that matters. You feel what I'm saying? But that's the world for you now. Let's continue. We're going to watch a couple more minutes, guys.
Move as women, since there's so much confusion as to, what standards should we pay attention to and what standards should we ignore. We need to have more conversations that are concrete about that,
Excuse me.
and getting us more grounded within ourselves, so that we're not so easily swayed by like this world's ideals and perspectives and what society like mandates upon Black women specifically. So again, to the ladies and everybody that's the men and the ladies that's on the live, you guys know whenever I speak to you guys, it's never from a place of like condemnation. I'm just I'm just talking, and I'm just bringing up things that I feel like is very interesting, and things that I feel like can help us move better as a people as a whole. Men, like, again, like, and I wanted to talk about this because it's getting dark in here. Somebody left a comment on the last video, and she said her name was Snacks Goody. She said, just a question: are men leaders or not? Because they should lead by example, not just say women get in line.
You're
Now,
right. You're right.
I wanted to go into that because when I first read it, I was like, I understand what you're saying. Like the brothers, I know a lot of time it be so many brothers that tell me like they don't like the BBLs. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I don't want that. I want a woman that got a natural body. But you still, like, you can't say those kind of things and then still pay all the attention to the world in the world to the women who got them kind of bodies. Like those are the ones that you guys are, liking their pictures and you flirting with them and all this other kind of stuff, because it sends a mixed signal, a mixed message to women as to what it is you guys really want. You guys.
How to edit a video. Go on Fiverr. Choose a freelancer. Create a masterpiece. Say, huh, that was easy, out loud. Fiverr. Start.
Understand me? Layla said,
I agree with her. I agree with her point. She definitely has a good point. But exactly, that's my point. Like when it comes to the women that have the BBLs, it takes a man that's woke enough to be able to see the reality, to be able to know the difference. Now, with that being said, I definitely get where she's coming from. Don't be contradictory in what you're saying. If you're going to talk about you don't want the women with BBLs, then don't deal with the women that have BBLs. Facts. Nothing but pure gems. Nothing but pure gems. Nothing but facts. Nothing but pure facts. Real talk. Let's continue.
we are not confused, just plain stupid and unholy. I feel like confusion is the root of the problem. Confusion leads to evil. And I'm just gonna read you guys a tweet that I posted about that, and then I'm gonna get off of here because I've been talking for 20 minutes and I don't want to be talking for too long. But I'm gonna read you this real quick. A tweet that I posted. It says, "Confusion is what true evil looks like. It doesn't point you to direct and blatant evil. It just confuses you so much until the line between right and wrong becomes indistinguishable. Principles become malleable, everything is nuanced, and we drown our logic in the gray area." And then this was another tweet. It says, "There's a reason why the words discipline and disciple are so closely related. Your discipline helps you be a better disciple to your own principles. But if we are confused, we hold no true principles, then exceptions and excuses are made for the dysfunction that we embrace. So we do need to get a better understanding, because if we're confused, that's what leads to evil. Because of course, if evil came to us straight way, we would reject it. Like, oh no, that's evil. I'm not going to do evil. But evil always has to come in a way that's confusing, to where you don't really know if it's evil. And next thing you know, you're on a slippery slope on a path to destruction and dysfunction, because you've been confused so much that you can't even distinguish the difference between right and wrong at this point. You know?
Nothing but facts.
So we do need to have conversations. So please understand, ladies and the men that's on the live, this is not an indictment against the men or the women. If you know, it's getting dark in here. I just want us to be better as a people, you know. The light gonna be behind me. Hopefully it helps. Oh, that made it terrible. Let me come over this way. You guys gonna see my plant over there struggling. I just want us to be better as a people. You know, that's all I want. I'm gonna turn it off because I don't like how that looks. That's really what I want, you know. So it's never like me trying to shade the women, because I'm a woman myself and I know it's difficult, and it's never me trying to shade the brothers. I just want us to be better. Okay. So I guess next, you guys can leave in the comments, please. Let me know, what do you want to talk about? I want to bring some people on the live so we can have some discussions. So I can collaborate with more folks, you know. That's just all I want. I just want us to be better. Let me look at two of these super chats, and then I'm gonna get off the live. And thank you so much. I appreciate, excuse me, the super chats. Someone, Steel Starlife said, "We live in hell on earth. We have to do better to be better." Yeah, we definitely do. Thank you so much for the super chat. Stuart Gully said, "Love all you do. Totally on point." Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Somebody said, Free My Grandma said, "It's funny how confusion."
All right, so we're gonna end off the video right here. I mean, I think there were definitely some good points which you brought up, but at the same time as well, too, like we said, right? It's all about your mentality. That's gonna determine how you're gonna move forward, especially as a man or a woman. But let's make this one point very, very clear. As a woman, you have your own standards in which you need to live your life. That were given to you. But the thing is that a lot of modern day women don't want to adhere to those standards. But if as a modern man, you have to, right? You have to adhere to traditional standards, right? So my thing is that if you're gonna adhere to those traditional standards as a man, you need to find a woman that does. And if you can't, then stay single and build your empire. Same thing with the women. But you probably are gonna find a man that's gonna be able to adhere to your standards. But some of y'all women, y'all have to be able to, like, even if you're part of the woke family, you have to be able to lower your standards to be able to find the right men. And don't be too much on your high horse, even though society wants you to be entitled. If you understand, it's because you're woke. If you don't understand, you're not woke. This is gonna be in this live stream video. If you like this video, make sure you go spam. Actually, no, well, hold on. We're gonna be watching a couple more videos. My bad, guys. My bad. Okay, let's get into the next video. We're gonna get into the next video.